And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
Well, we're coming to the end of a long road through 2020, and it's been said that it ain't over until a certain lady sings. And in presidential elections, it isn't over until the states certify the results and all of the legal challenges and processes are exhausted. It's as simple as that. Folks may howl about legal challenges, but Joe Lieberman, who was on the ballot with Al Gore in 2000, said the other night that it's not only appropriate, but it's the right thing to do. We resolve election disputes through the courts and through the legal process. We don't fight them out in the streets as they do in other countries. We have an orderly, proper process, and it needs to be exhausted. So there's ground yet to be covered, but there are some pretty clear takeaways from Tuesday's results. First of all, blue wave? There wasn't even a blue trickle. Down ballot, Republicans did really well. I mean, the Democrats believed that they were going to take control of the U.S. Senate by a significant margin. They spent billions, literally, on trying to take away Republican seats. Lindsey Graham beat back a $100 million challenge in South Carolina. Susan Collins won a race she was supposed to lose by double digits by winning almost in double digits. Up in Maine, another hugely spent race where the Democrats thought they would prevail. It's pretty hopeful that Republicans will maintain control of the Senate, although you're going to have these two runoff elections down in Georgia, and the Peachtree State will now become the epicenter of the entire universe for the next few weeks leading up to their January 5th runoffs for 2 seats. A strange situation there, because rarely do you have 2 Senate seats up for the same time, but one of them was a special election. But over in the House, the Republicans gained seats, many of them by conservative Republican women. And, despite all of the media hype, and let's face it, the 2 things that were most prominent in this campaign were the media's antipathy for Donald Trump and the pollsters' complete lack of credibility, and how in the hell they're ever going to maintain that for 2022 or 2024 is beyond me after what they've done in the last couple of cycles. But the drumbeat that continued about Trump being a racist, for example, and what happens? Donald J. Trump outperforms every Republican for the last 60 years among the minority community, winning record totals for a Republican among Black Americans, huge totals among Latinos, over 1/3 of the vote there, and Asian Americans voting with him in records that the pollsters never got right. So now there exists the opportunity to cement and grow a new Republican coalition. It's not going to be a party that looked like our fathers or grandfathers' Republican Party. The silk stocking days of the Brie and Chablis set are moving aside, and the party is moving out of the country clubs into union halls and beer and a shot bars and community centers and Main Street America, where the vast majority of Americans still live. And there's a real opportunity to create a pro-growth, anti-socialist, browner party on the part of the Republicans, and to win the elections in the midterm and the presidency in 2024. That's great news for the country. All of those, by the way, reject the socialist model. So President Trump's promise that America will never be a socialist country appears more and more to be coming true. And the markets this week had a very interesting time. You might recall that throughout the campaign, I said that if the market was at 27,500 on election day, that Donald Trump would win. Well, the week didn't start out so good for the markets. There was a dip at the beginning of November of a pretty significant nature carried over from October. And on election day, it had begun to pick back up, hit 27,500 in midday trading, but then dropped off just at the end of the day and finished 20 points below. So whether or not that's a true correlation with the election result, we'll have to wait and see. But I can tell you this, it was a hell of a lot better than any of the pollsters did this year. I mean, the polling industry really has egg all over its face. And if they show their face again in the way they have before, with all these prognostications based upon their numbers, whether or not the media, even the media, will buy it is beyond me. But for those of us that constantly called out the polling industry throughout this campaign, there's at least a little bit of satisfaction in being able to say, maybe we told you so. The most unctuous words in the English language, but the pollsters deserve it. And frankly, so does the media. The Media Research Center said 92%. Think about that, 92%. of the coverage of the news during the presidential election was negative to President Trump. And I'm wondering where the other 8% happened to be. And post-election, the markets surged a little bit, largely because the markets like divided government. And it appears that if the Republicans control the Senate, there's going to be divided government for at least the next 2 years. And the Fed said that they're going to hold interest rates at relatively zero levels, which again spurred growth in the market just a little bit. Finally, this is National Gratitude Month. And leading up to Thanksgiving, shouldn't every day be Thanksgiving for each of us? Because God has blessed us all with more abundantly than we could ever ask or hope. We are all so truly blessed and have so much for which to be thankful. And for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.